Good morning and welcome to Event Horizons. I'm Dr. Robin Falkov, your anchor. Many of you know that quote by Jack Nicholson in that movie that was so outstanding, A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Well, you can. I know you can. And Event Horizons will give you those truths. So when you're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore, like that memorable scene in Network, you'll know just what to do. We will draw you in and become your news addiction at Event Horizons. We are changing the paradigm to give you what you did not know you so desperately need. And boy, we have a lot of that for you today. A lot of important information, a lot of headlines around the world, and coming up with us at the start of the show will be Melanie Vritschan, who is in Brussels, and Melanie is our team member reporting on covert technologies. Are we able to bring Melanie on now, Producer Jerry?
Yeah, she should be all set.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Good morning, Melanie.
Hello, good afternoon from Brussels.
Yes, and good afternoon to you. Thank you. Good to be back on air with you.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot going on with the subject of covert technologies and mind control technologies. I've just seen that, in fact, the FBI has released surveillance footage of the DC Navy gunman. And yes, and that apparently he believed that he was subjected to some ultra-low frequency attack. And he left an electronic note saying that this was what I've been subjected to for the last 3 months. To be perfectly honest with, that is what has driven me to this, according to the FBI. So, and I saw just the footage. You see him running around there with his shotgun, looking for people to kill. It's pretty awful, but now it is most definitely clear that this shooter was a mind control victim.
Yes, I find it so intriguing, which I think I mentioned last week, that the media actually covered that information about mind control, and that they commented on the fact that he had written ELF weapon on his rifle stock. Usually, you know, the story gets spun and you get a whole different version of it. And
True.
For some reason, this came out. What do you think? Are you seeing other indications in the issues that you follow? Is more being revealed?
Well, I thought the same like you, and I was even more surprised when I saw now that the FBI released the surveillance footage and reported on this note that he apparently left. So I think. We always refer to the perpetrators as they, and we see them, as victims that are, victimized by this technology, these covert technologies. We always, the perpetrator, and we see them as a group. But I think actually within, the agencies or that have access to this technology, there must be different fractions as well. So I think that maybe and there are people, that's my guess, that do not agree with this being done to innocent citizens. And I think probably they have cracked under the pressure and are now slowly releasing the information.
I agree with you, Melanie. I've always felt, and you can tell me what you think, that the only reason we don't have outright, people will question it, but that we don't have outright dictatorships or fascism in the United States and many other countries is because there are all these groups that you were mentioning that are vying for power. They're all competing with each other, and
Sure.
that competition has, prevented the tide from turning in one direction. Do you see evidence of that?
Yes, well, I agree with you. I'm certainly this way, but I see the tide is turning. Because slowly but surely there's more and more information on these cover technologies that is coming out, and also. Now slowly the media are covering it. I saw, for example, yesterday, I think it was this is the Los Angeles Times that I read this. I think it's part of either. Yeah, there are different factions, basically, struggling for power. Or also we, as the public, have probably turned up the heat, for the people governing us, and they now feel the pressure to release the information.
Definitely, that's how it appears. Now, I know you had sent me a link, and would you like to tell the audience about this book that's come out?
Yes.
Something to open their eyes.
Yes, I had sent you a link. In fact, there was an interview talking about, releasing the information in the media. Dr. John Hall, who's on our board, and just to remind our listeners that I'm with two organizations. The first one is the International Center Against Abuse of Covert Technologies, ICAACT.org, and the second one is called the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment. Both organizations raise awareness to the crime of non-consensual implantation of unwitting citizens with covert technologies, remote influencing technologies. ICAACT focuses a little bit more on we provide them with evidence. We have a 3-phase testing protocol, and EUCACH is a little bit more a lobbying organization. Well, on the ICAACT board sits Dr. John Hall, and he was invited this week by David Knight from Infowars.com and was interviewed there, and that was certainly, a huge success. And Dr. John Hall, for us, and Dr. John Hall has written a book that is called A New Breed: Satellite Terrorism in America. And this book will now be a movie. So that's certainly. As I said last time, we're very glad about that, because I think that will help really in the awareness raising for this problem when people see it as a movie.
Definitely. So this will be a documentary that is being made?
No, in fact, on the show, on the interview when he was interviewed by David Knight, he explained why they decided not to present it as a documentary, because a documentary, only people that know that this is going on and that are believers in this will go and see it, no matter how much really scientific information you bring. They have decided to do it like a drama, but it's based on a true story. So in fact, Dr. Hall came in contact with this because he had, 10 years ago, a patient that came to him and complained about that she was being harassed, being stalked, that there were break-ons into her home, that she was basically suffering from what we call now covert harassment, and that she was hearing voices, because with this technology it is possible to give the person audible commands. And Dr. Hall was one of the few physicians who did not immediately write her off and sent her to a psychiatrist, but he decided to take her seriously and make some checking, some counter surveillance, and in fact what they did, they bugged her place. And indeed, they could record that there were, break-ons into her home, and people coming in and putting rohypnol into the water, and she was basically sexually assaulted. But as she had been drugged, she had no clear memories of this. So. But they could record this, and then they went to the police, and the police told them that this was apparently a former FBI agent that was doing this for a living. He was stalking people for a living. And this was how Dr. Hall, in fact, came in contact with this problem. And as soon as he decided to write a book. And as soon as this book came out, he was inundated with thousands and thousands of letters of victims saying that they were experiencing the same. And this is how we then came to start ICAACT, because we set out to prove this because this is forensically, if you are implanted, and it is very difficult to prove. You can prove it via a radio frequency scan of the body, and this is how that's how movement started, our whole organization, and what we're doing today.
Well, that is of such critical importance. As we've discussed so many times, these people are treated as if they're crazy, that they need antipsychotic or anti-anxiety medications just to sort of shut them off and ignore what's going on. And
Sure.
And I know you've pointed out, many doctors do this intentionally. What are the laws in your country about covert spying on people, about the use of mind control?
Well, actually, Dr. Nick Bagich came to the European Parliament, I think at the end of the 90s, and he succeeded in at least outlawing part of this. At least the European Parliament, after his presentation, in fact, he did a presentation about HARP. And showed how extremely low frequencies affect the human mind, and that you can basically subliminally control people. And following this, the European Parliament in fact issued a resolution on environment, security, and foreign policy. It's the resolution A40000599. And was issued on 28th of January 1999, and in paragraphs 23, 24, and 27, it calls for non-lethal weapons technology and development of new arms strategies to be covered and regulated by international conventions. So Dr. Bagich's presentation did have some effect, but the problem is that following this, the European Parliament did indeed issue this resolution, but the problem is that this resolution is basically a declaration of intent, but it is not actually law. So what we are doing in our work with EUCACH is that we working with the European Parliament and in order to have appropriate EU legislation created to protect our citizens from these kinds of abuses. And so there have been, initiatives have been made, but we do not really have yet appropriate laws that completely outlaw these technologies. In fact, any technologies that enable the manipulation of human beings.
And Dr. Nick Bagich is a very good friend for years, and his work is outstanding. I was just trying to find the name of his book about mind control, and I will look for that and share that.
Is but it not the angels don't play this harp also?
That's his first book with Jean. I can't recall her last name, Jean Manning, and that was about harp. But the book about
Exactly.
mind control is specifically about mind control, and he has listed the patents that were applied for. That kind of drives the point home for those people who would like to just ignore it and say it's conspiracy theory.
Absolutely. True. And, well, personally, I also have a very, well, I'm very pleased. I've heard, in fact, we have here in Belgium, Robin, a prize of an organization that gives every second year a prize to the person who has made a meritable contribution to ethics in biomedicine. But you cannot nominate yourself. Somebody else has to nominate you. And I have been informed that apparently 3 people have nominated me.
Of course.
Yes.
To be expected. You're doing outstanding work.
For this prize, I don't, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be, retained, but even if I don't, I mean, just the fact that they nominated me made this organization, which is an organization that is advocating transhumanism, but is looking also on the ethical side of it, of ICT implants in the human body. At least we have made them aware, of EUCACH and ICAACT and our work, and how important it is that we create this appropriate legislation to protect our citizens.
Definitely. And I know you provide free testing. I think it's important that I don't want you to feel I'm asking you to repeat yourself, but if we have new people that are suffering and being ridiculed and mistreated because of what's going on with them, this vindicates them. So could you talk about that testing for a moment that's available?
Sure.
Thank you.
So ICAACT has developed a 3-phase testing protocol, because when the people that come to people that do think that this could have happened to them, that this is what they have been victimized with, and as you say very truly, Robin, they most of the time they're just sent to a psychiatrist. We have developed this testing 3-phase testing protocol to provide them with evidence. So a first phase is a preliminary RF scan with a radio frequency detector that is called the GM20 Pro. We do a full body scan. The current medical understanding is that human beings do not emit radio frequencies. So we do this first. For the ones that come up positive, and the numbers are very high, we ask them then that the participants go out and obtain medical images in the form of a CT scan, MRI scan, or high digital panoramic X-ray. But unfortunately, we're now moving into nanotechnology, so it's very difficult to see with the current medical imagery that we have available. And then the third phase, which we completed just very successfully here in Belgium in a research facility, and I was instrumental in providing us with this facility and organizing this, is that we scan the people that did come up positive in the first phase again in a controlled environment, which is basically a Faraday cage. So we have really amazing results. We have conclusive results. Last October, we scanned a group of 14 people, and we also had a control group that we had previously scanned that came up positive in the preliminary scan. We also scanned them in the Faraday cage, and they did come up positive, and they came up positive at the precise anatomical focus points that they had come up outside positive outside the Faraday cage. So we have now conclusive evidence that the emissions are coming from the body of the individuals we tested.
And that's priceless.
Yes, and we do that free of charge. So it's actually good that you talk about it, Robin, because we are organizing another scanning event on the weekend of the 19th and 20th of October. In fact, I co-organize it.
Okay.
Yes, so if people want to come to this, go to the ICAACT website, icaact.org, so ICAACT.org, and you can register there. And then hopefully we'll see you in October. Yeah, for the people that want this verification done.
Well, I think anybody that is being dismissed and condescended to by their doctors when they talk about what they're experiencing in their own body and what they know is going on, this is the vindication that you're providing. So it's an outstanding service. Is there any way they can get this type of testing in the United States? Although I'm sure it'd be lovely to pick up and just go to Brussels.
Yes, indeed. In fact, our president, Mr. Jesse Beltran, he is a retired firefighter, paramedic, and he lives in California, so Sacramento. So ICAACT, there is certainly the possibility to do that also in California. If you, sorry, in the United States, you can contact. In this case, there is an email, us@icaact.org, and you can send Jesse an email. And he now has help also. We have a new person now, Richard Norton, who's also doing the scanning. And so absolutely, this service is also available in the US, yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding, Melanie. Really, really wonderful. I'm so many people need this, and I still am waiting for Crystal River to return. She's been out of town. And I want to do part 2 with you and Crystal River on What They Don't Want You to Know, my Wednesday afternoon show, because we just had such an outstanding program with you for part 1 about all of these mind control technologies and the horrors that people are facing with Morgellons. And the worst part is the lack of acceptance or understanding.
Yeah, that's true. I have experienced this myself, and yeah, also when I talk to the people that come to our scannings, you know, their stories are all, you know, absolutely similar. The standard, yeah, as soon as they complain about this kind of symptoms, and for example, having a feeling of electricity in your body, pain all over, excruciating headaches, some artificial tinnitus, or yeah, even hearing voices, which is possible via technology that is called voice to skull. Heart palpitations. Well, almost all of the people that I spoke to were sent to a psychiatrist.
Gosh.
I mean,
sure.
You know, there's hardly anybody that will, you know, dig a little bit deeper and actually wants to go to get to the bottom of this. You know, so.
Yeah,
but,
it's.
Now we have done this testing in this Faraday cage, and I think it's very important in order to prove this. And maybe, hopefully, we can prevent that. Well, hopefully, we can, with this, raise more awareness and maybe change this very unfortunate fact that they're actually victims of a terrible crime and are constantly sent to a psychiatrist.
Yes, and maybe some of these patients can file complaints against the doctors who refused to test further to find out what was going on and just tried to shut them up with medications. So.
That is actually true. I know that one of my colleagues, in fact, in the early days of this, there was actually something showed up, I think, on his MRI scan or CT scan, and first he showed it to some medical professionals, and they said, yes, oh, this is a wire, and so they went to the hospital and asked them to investigate this, and they first said, oh, yeah, yes, and we're going to have a look, and then he got a letter saying, well, there's no need for further investigation.
Mm.
So now he has the proof, in fact, that in the Faraday cage he's emitting radio frequencies. Yeah, I think then you could turn against the doctor. You know?
Definitely, yes. I mean, they need to have an identification card that states that. Just like so many have medical alert bracelets, they need to have something like that. And then the fact that the study has been confirmed. Yeah, it's, I feel for you, and I believe our audience knows that you have been going through these very experiences yourself. So.
Yes, we're running out of time, but basically,
yes,
in 2008 I underwent surgery, and after that I woke up with Morgellons, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely something that happens to way too many people, and my thanks to you for your perseverance, Melanie, and your commitment to making a difference and founding these organizations. This is critically important, and people's lives are being changed from the work you're doing. So that nomination makes perfect sense to me.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, I hope we covered a lot this morning, and anytime that there's breaking news, please get back to me if there. And we are back. I'm Dr. Robin Falkov, and you are listening to Event Horizons. My thanks to team member Melanie Vritschan, who was just with us, covering information about electronic mind control, ELF technology, and Morgellons, and testing that is freely made available. There's an event coming up in November in Brussels where you can be tested, and you can always contact Melanie through her site, ICAACT.org, sorry, Melanie, and that information's on the Event Horizons website. Great work, and so important. We're at a turning point right now, and it's important that the follow-up is there, and more people will be helped and not ridiculed. As I was sharing with producer Jerry on the break, I have met way too many people at conferences, and the pressure and the I can't even think of the word. I mean, this is even more abuse, that they are not taken seriously, some even ridiculed, and many just ignored. And they are suffering with real symptoms for a real problem that can be identified, and this can be shown to these doctors. And there should be some action taken against them, because I urge you all to remember, you are hiring a doctor to do a job for you. And if they don't deliver, fire them. Find somebody else. I'm an Oriental medical doctor and a homeopathic physician, and my patients are not getting what they need. I expect them to move on. And since I'm a little bit pickier than most doctors, when I have patients that don't want to work with me and just want a quick fix, I'm always happy to provide a referral for them, because the goal is to address the root causes of illness and allow the body to heal, and then the patient doesn't have to come back. It's a little bit opposite from Western medicine, but that's a great way to proceed, because with education and the recognition of symptoms and what they mean, then there are tools to deal with that before things get out of control. So there's lots to be done.